Welcome back to I Was Born to Do This. I'm your host, Kiera Brinton, and today is a special edition because I am here in Sedona, Arizona with three extraordinary authors as they have been writing their books in the last 5 days. Today is our final day on the adventure, and I am so excited for you to get to know them, to meet them, also to just experience what these days have been for us and how impactful this group has been, like really beautifully intertwined together. So that I'm just going to let each one of you first just say your name and maybe say where you're from. And then let's just say the book that you're writing. And if you're still like unclear on the title, just maybe say this is the working title, right? Why don't you start, Julie?
Okay, my name's Julie Lamb. I'm from in between Hong Kong and UK. And my book is about restoring human connection, authentic human connection in modern times. And I speak about the space and the nourishment that we can create for each other between our hearts.
So beautiful.
I'm Jenn. I'm from Virginia, and my working title for my book is called Radiant with the subtitle, So Why Are You Still Single?
So great. I love it.
My name is Taylor, and I live in Phoenix, Arizona. And my book is called Beneath the Colors, with the subtitle For the Misfits, For the Masters, For the Outcasts, and For the Gifted.
Amazing. So here we are. We knew each other a little bit because you're all in Mosaic and we all come to the calls, but like never have met in person. Why don't we each just share a little bit about what this experience has been for you just based off of the community?
I mean, I came because of this community. I heard this magical being, Julie Lamb, and it was just like a heart calling when I heard that you were the one that brought in the date, the place, the adventure, and then hear about you. I was like, oh, this is the coolest girl ever. I had to. So it was really you all that called me in.
How about you, ladies?
It was almost like beyond reasoning for me. It was just, I knew I had to come and woke up in the middle of the night with such certainty. I got on a call as soon as I could. And Sedona, yeah. Never been. It's just calling.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But I did dream about Jenn.
Oh,
That she was here when there was one space left.
Oh,
It was, I saw myself here with Jenn in a house.
did she tell you?
Yes. I had told her, I was like, oh, I really want to go. But, it was like a big deal. It's a big investment. And,
Timing was wrong.
Your timing was wrong. It didn't make sense. It seemed like this crazy desire. And then like the next day or two, you told me like, I had a dream about you.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's been wonderful. I met Kira this summer on your Unleashed call.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned that you had these adventures, I believe, Julie Lamb, you already had scheduled this. And of all the places you could have scheduled, Sedona is my favorite go-to place. I live down in Phoenix. It's where I drive on the weekends to come and reset. And it's been this place of refuge. And much of what I wrote in my book has been processed throughout the years here in Sedona. But then I could not imagine the community that's been cultivated amongst us three women. It's been exceptional. And all of our books really intertwining with one another. So it's not just been like us three here and going and writing our books. Like we have been in this journey together, which has been really, really wonderful and genuine.
Yeah, it really has. It's been such a special group. Every group is special in their own unique ways. And what I think was so unique about you three is that we actually have a bunch of different age groups from all over the world. And yet it's like you've always known each other. And it does feel as though today we were saying, it feels like there's like a river of content, but each one of you is taking your river to a different country. It's like each one of you are taking your river to a different community in different words, but it all has the same seed. And so that kind of leads me into, I would love for each one of you to just go a little bit deeper on the message that's called to you, the work that you're here to do, the people you're here to serve.
For many years, I've been working with groups of people and really going deep into a philosophy about how we need each other for connection. So many words I have on this topic. And I was thinking, I just come here to get it all in order, have Kira support me. I never imagined that we'd work like this, supporting each other, but that she would really help to clarify it. What I didn't realize, it was also the experience as well of starting to live the words here. For me, this was my experience of you need to know, the message was you need to know what it feels like when you deeply feel that real connection, which comes from a place of truth. How rare that feels to me, but then to have it, and then to feel so strongly, why can't we all build this? That's my message, is we can. I know we can.
How about you, Jenn? So my business is called Stylegasm, and I'm a fashion stylist, and I help women, express their version of the divine feminine. And Kira has been a client of mine. 4 years ago, I actually lived in Bali, Indonesia, and during the pandemic, I had written this book called Why Are You Still Single? And it was sort of a left field, but it hit such a nerve with my community. I did a couple book clubs with it, and then decided that I had reached a dead end with it because I loved style and I didn't want to be a relationship coach. And I felt like that was all I could do with it at that time. And then having been in Mosaic, and we have these, weekly calls and channeling more messages. And I just felt like Why You're So Single was tapping on my consciousness for the last few weeks, few months. And I was really actually frustrated with it because I was like, go away. Like, I did this before, and it even feels even more vulnerable because I've been single I've been single since I wrote it. It's been 5 years now. Gosh, it's crazy. So, but it was just undeniable that there was something in that message that really wanted to be revisited and was really sparked by, Julie Lamb kickstarting this adventure. And what's been just absolutely wild is, things really started to flow with my book when I started talking about my process and how so much of shopping and clearing out your closet is the exact process with dating and relationships, and all these amazing metaphors about, buying the dress that is too tight and you say you're going to lose weight for, and how that's that guy that just isn't quite right, and how we think we know what we want, but often that's really not what's best for us. And it's been really amazing, because my biggest fear going into this was this. I had this thing going around my head. This is going to be like career suicide. It's gonna be something so left field, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I have to find a way back to my style business, and then it's all actually so interconnected about really getting in full alignment of like who you truly are and the radiant woman that you are, and to trust yourself and to define what your standards are. And it's been amazing. Very unexpected how it's all just woven together beautifully.
Yeah. This is so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I think your book was like such a surprise this week, right? Like we didn't know how it was going to be. And at first it felt a little like, oh, this is a fun idea. And then like the way it's ended is like, this is a non-negotiable. Like entrepreneur women need this message so deeply. And your style is just like, it's just the symphony behind it. Like, it's just what it is. It's so great. I'm so excited. Yeah. How about you, Taylor?
Yeah, well, I feel connected to Jenn on the topic of having a brand and then feel like your message or what you're coming in to write about were two different things. And like, how are they going to merge together when they seem like two different camps? And I came in thinking that I was going to write, a memoir, like a traditional thing of just like telling my story. And that felt very different than I'm a full-time artist. So I paint murals and canvases for clients. And I didn't understand how I was going to have, my art business, but now I'm just like going to start writing books. And throughout my personal journey, it's been a lot of this inner child work and going back and looking at a lot of the emotional undercurrents of how I felt growing up that then has been a process to unwind from in young adulthood. But really the theme of it all is that I came in as like a very sensitive and gifted child, and my gifts, though, they didn't have a place in the world. So I thought that I was wrong, that I've been stupid, or, I've had a lot of these internal difficulties as a result. And so this book really is speaking to everyone that's had a similar experience. But the beautiful thing that came to life was I came in thinking I was going to be writing this book in a certain fashion, and that completely went out the window when I realized, like, this book is to represent who I am, and who I am shows up completely, like, learns differently and expresses differently. And so everything went out the window and now gets to be done, whether it's pictures or riddles or poems, or, you know, I get to bring to life all these images, which really speak to the subconscious mind. And so essentially be taking the reader on a journey that I've been through, but it's this idea of, like, when we don't own our gifts or don't even know we have gifts, it's like they use us, and it's like they have power over us. And I see, like, these children that come in the world that are, you know, feel like this angst or this frustration, like, no one loves me, or I don't fit in, or I don't belong. And it's like, you were never meant to. There's a whole world for you to create that can hold your magic. You don't see it around you yet. And so you think because it's not there and you don't fit, that there's something wrong with you. And it's like, so this process of coming to find out, oh, I have these gifts and I get to use them. And actually, you know, we're all special, but, like, owning our specialness and how we get to show up. And, like, when we're multidimensional beings, it's the black and white or the current systems don't show us the way. And so it's like we learn that we are the way, and really get the reader to be able to hopefully see themselves in the pages, and which is then my process of seeing my own self, which I got to see even more this week, which has been really, really beautiful. Just like that flow space that we can get into is when we're in alignment with who we truly are.
It's been so fun to watch this book really start to, like, show us what it was.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
At first it was like, hey, it's a memoir. No. It's a thought leader book.
Yes.
No. Oh my gosh. It's like you. It's like your paintings, your brilliance put through. And, like, it was like, of course, the gifted are not going to read a normal book.
No.
The gifted need a book for the gifted, which means, like, it has to be different.
Right.
Yeah. And you're so extraordinary at painting. So it just makes the most sense, right? So you can feel the books that are here. You can feel that these aren't just like, they just, like, woke up one day, like, I don't know, I think this would be super fun to write this book. Like, they were called to write these books. These books are going to change people's lives. If we were to just take each one and look at, like, I mean, Julie Lamb is like, every time she talks, we just kind of, like, everyone gets quiet and we all just like listen, and we're like, I feel like we're, like, one of the very few people who are lucky to be in her presence. And she teaches us, like, every minute of every day. And the amount of people who are going to heal from her book, it's insurmountable. And I already told her, like, she just buckle up because she's going to become a superstar. And so get ready because it's just it's inevitable. People are going to hear her, and they're going to hear her words, and it's going to heal all the wounds inside of them. So just, like, that energy, but then the energy of your book, and thinking of all of the extraordinary, amazing women who are out creating massive success and changing the world, who are still single. And the lies that fill our world of, like, well, you're too masculine, or no man wants a successful woman, or, like, all these lies that we've, like, literally been prescribed. And you're going in and teaching them a completely new way to look at it. And it's going to change the world. It will change women everywhere. So it's just such an important book. And then your book, I mean, I'm a gifted one. I'm one of the misfits and a master. I'm an outcast and I am gifted. And I think of how often no one has ever spoken my language, and how many of us are in the world where we're like, no one speaks my language. No one understands me. And your book actually comes in and, like, is this self? Like, no, you're not alone. And in that is so interesting that when we're not alone, we heal. When we know we're not alone, we can heal. But when we feel like we're on a lone island, it's like, well, I don't even know what to do. And so your book is just, what I love is that your paintings will teach the subconscious mind, but then the words actually meet the conscious mind. So you're doing, like, a wholeness with it. And it's just so beautiful. And I love both your books decided to come in color, which is rare. I almost never have books that, like, on adventures, that I'm never like, we should do yours in color. And both of yours was like full color, every page. Let's go. Like, it's really exciting. So what I would love is for you guys to share maybe some of like your 3 highlights of this adventure. So take a second, think about it. 3 highlighted moments throughout these days. What made either an impact on you, or it was just like so fun, or you had a huge breakthrough?
For me, I think it was this body experience of maybe people do actually want to listen to me.
We can't stop listening for like, just keep, please talk.
So yeah, it was like, what you have given me is like a new me, and I think a magical moment was when I faced my biggest fear and looked into the camera, and I was thinking, and someone said to me, just imagine you're speaking to your friends. And then at the end, I took, I was following the rules and looking into the camera, but then I looked at the screen and I just thought, oh, I can be my own friend too. I just met a friend. So that was huge for me. And maybe one other thing. I mean, there's so many things. It's hard to choose. I love that we are in each other's books.
Yeah.
I just love that. And for me, that's like this whole giving, receiving, where it kind of merges and there's no kind of possessiveness anywhere. It's like, And what we're seeing as well is the core of everything is actually the same. We're just expressing it in our different languages.
Yes.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. What about you? For me, so many as well. The breathwork experience we had was really profound for me. We had Jeremy come in and lead us through an experience. And I've done breathwork before, but I really felt a really like unconditional love message. And I feel it was very connected to my book of feeling that. So that was, I feel like a shift happened from that experience. And then I think that just all the sitting around like girlfriends and talking, like it was yesterday over the kitchen table. And so much of my book has actually come through you just literally like audio recording and we're just riffing and talking, going back and forth. And I love today you had brought in because, your experience of calling in your man and just all the things, all that talking. So it's kind of, I haven't really been sitting down and like slugging away. It's been a lot more like external processing with you all. You were doing a colored book. I was like, man, that's amazing. And then, so like, I wanted to do one and just how much we've gotten inspired from each other's process. Like, I was so excited to see y'all's book covers. That
that has been one of the highlights.
That's definitely one of the highlights.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. Thank you.
I'm definitely all in on just the connection we have. I mean, like I know myself being very sensitive and I'm typically in settings like where can I run off to or escape to and like get my time and kind of cleanse off. And we've gone away to work, but every time it's like, I can't wait to get back to my buddies. Like it's just the amount of genuine care and laughter and like each of our wins has been each other's wins. Like it's been, like seeing each other's book covers or coming up with these ideas or getting concepts for the books. It's like if there was no difference whether that was for your book or for my book. Like it just felt like such a collective community, and that's really rare. Like it's just been a genuine connection that us three women being able to have. Just all these overlaps. And then another big low up for me was Kira and I have been doing cold plunges in the morning.
We have a river at the base of our house. Literally, it's just ours.
It is. So I decided the first morning of being here that I do my practice every day to go down into it. And mornings have been about 30 degrees. So that gives you an idea of how cold the water is.
That's just the air.
That's the air.
Normally, like in cold plunge is like 41.
Yeah.
The air is 30. So I'm pretty sure the water is like at least 12. I feel like it's 12. It is for sure.
It's not ice. It's not frozen. It is pretty darn cold.
We are still in Arizona.
The sun just warming. Yeah, we got in and there was a lot of resistance of just how cold it was. And I don't know where it came from, but the phrase that came was there's no place I'd rather be. And this old worship song came to mind. And, I'm not religious and I haven't heard the song in a while, but like was so cold I actually couldn't fight the urge to not sing. It was just like I started singing and I heard this voice saying like, you have your gifts, use them. If you have your voice, use it. And I don't sing around people, like not on the spot. And so to be able to be in the water, freezing cold, and actually find my breath and my voice to be able to sing, there's no place I'd rather be, but hearing your love was such a healing moment. Like I feel like a rewrite in my entire system. And then after that, when we came up, I was itching at the bit all week, but I created a painting for Kira and was able to gift that to her. And that was such a gift because you've been such a gift to me. Yeah. There's been lots of wonderful moments this week.
That was, I mean, there's so many favorite moments. I'll talk about my favorite, but I think you giving me that gift, I have never received such a gift. And the way that you gave it, she had me sit down. She was like, oh, I have something to show you. And it was a video of her painting this painting of me. And it's not that it was like a painting of me, because I've never like been like, oh, I really wish I would have a painting of me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that I've thought of. It was that the painting was everything that I am. And so it was like the care that you knew me enough that she wrote like these scrolls behind my head, and on the scrolls were all the words I say all the time. And so it's just to be like so known.
Yeah.
Like I was so seen in that painting, and I just never received such a thing. So that was like a highlight for sure. Thank you. Thank you. And the highlight of us being in the cold plunges every morning, and every morning me just being like, I do not want to do this. And then every day being like, I'm so glad I did it. Just that magic of having our own river out back, and it's fall here. So like the orange leaves are like coming around. They're literally falling around our faces, and we're in this freezing water and we're praying, and it's the sacred, it's the devotion. And I think that for me, every time I have an adventure, my favorite is the devotion. It's the amount of time that we spend in prayer, the amount of time that we spend in devotion to listening. And when there's anything that we can't figure out, we drop in and listen. And even down to like, do we stay in for dinner or do we go out? And we like drop in and listen. I mean, the whole week is about honoring and listening and the devotion in that. I think there's some great moments to point out that people probably think that we just stay in a house and we just write 8 hours a day, but that's actually not what we do. I think, was it day one, we went for a hike. We found the stage. It was like all these rocks, and we created this stage from these rocks.
Which was at the base of Cathedral Rock. Like, so this place, like we were tucked in, we were on private creek. And then the Cathedral Rock is like, I've gone on runs in the morning too. It's like, it's right there. So if you know Sedona, Arizona, it's like prime spot. We were right
prime. And so we went for this walk, and then it was like, I knew what needed to be done. And I would love to hear how it was for you guys. And this is a practice I do all the time with my authors, is I have you step onto like some sort of a stage, or we step on the edge of a cliff, somewhere we can speak out into the ethers. And had you guys speak your visions for these books. That was day one, which was like 7 years ago. So now that it's been 7 years, how did it feel then? And do you feel like what you said then is so much more possible in the transformation that's happened this week? What do you guys think?
I think for me, what was powerful about doing that was the way that I was standing. So just embodying that confidence and sense of certainty in a way, and, on the height, like looking down at people. It's like, oh, I shouldn't be up here, looking down. And then, something happened for me the next day. It was like I completely let go of an old pattern and just had this sure answer. So an opportunity came in. And instead of going, I don't really need a few days to think, not sure, it was just like, this is it. Let's go.
The queen rose.
Yeah.
When we saw her on that stage, it was like the queen came. And we could feel her and like the power. And you were able to make that decision like the queen. Like, yes, this is it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do you guys want to share anything?
Yeah, for me, I mean, one of my fears coming into writing this book of Why You're Still Single is that I am still single. So I think that experience being there is my future self. And for one, it doesn't matter. And that almost like I will call on the one, but that's actually like it's all this journey that really matters. It's not about like, even there, it's like, I'm not there bragging about my partner, it's like, I'm so grateful that I stepped into this calling, that I'm leading this movement and I'm helping others. And I feel this love for myself. And this also happened. And I would say the thing that I remember the most from it was actually Taylor sharing hers. Mm-hmm. And this was for your book that you were working on another book from another adventure. But I just loved how like your vision for it and your vision to like dream big. And I could really feel the truth of it. I could see it for you. And it gave me permission to dream bigger too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. That was a wonderful experience. And it was actually powerful because I went on the first adventure with you at the British Virgin Islands. And so I was there when you had us do that practice. Mm-hmm. But I was just starting off with that book. So I didn't quite have the full vision because my first book, Lily's Locket, which is on its way of being finished right now, was still coming into fruition. And so to be able to stand up there now where I've been able to cultivate these visions, it felt so real. And then that set the stage for actually this current book that I'm working on now, Beneath the Colors, which wasn't even come into form yet. Yeah. And I feel like the energy of that, being able to dream big and really speak to the Lily's Locket dreams and visions that I have for that, actually became this fuel for this one, where there is a lot of crossover, just again, in kind of a different language with it.
Oh, it was such a beautiful thing. It was like we could see everyone becoming who they're meant to be. So that was day 1. Day 2, we went on a hike to go find the birthing cave and we got lost. And so we just sat down. We just sat down in the middle of the desert on a cliff. And we ended up finding the most beautiful like parables of why getting lost is the thing. And I feel like you said something that just really hit home. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, it was that it's a privilege to get lost because you're a seeker, and those that are stagnant, they're just on the straight and narrow. They're not getting lost because they don't seek more.
Right. That like when you said that, I was like, and we all just kind of felt this, like there was a purpose in the getting lost. It makes us more humble. It makes us more moldable. It makes us be better servants of like work.
And Juliet pointed out too, she's like, when we get lost, we're so quick to ask for help.
Right.
Like whether that's like, God help me, or like asking a stranger. And so there's like this extra output that happens of like being open to receive that we don't. We're just like, yeah, we know where we're going.
Yes. Yes. And on the second day, Juliet arrived. So we'll have Juliet now come sit in with us. Find a little seat. Cozy up. Let's see how close we can get together here. Not sure.
Come and share. Like,
yeah, perfect. Come sit. Or me and Juliet can share. Here, you sit here. Juliet, you come sit next to me. All right. There we go. So here's Juliet. You all know Juliet. She's my best friend. But we also work together. And she builds the branding of all my businesses, as well as all of the book covers that we produce at JOA. And she came in this time as our camera crew and book cover designer. And turned into our chef, and she like fed us, and it was all the things. But you came in day 2. We did all the hike. We all went and got our auras photographed.
Oh yeah.
Turns out most of us are red. Weird. We're like, what? Why are we all the same? Well, okay.
Swore I was gonna be rainbow.
But Juliet, why don't you tell some of your point of view, almost like you are like a fly on the wall in a sense sometimes.
Yeah, no, as soon as I got here, again, it seemed like you guys had been together for months. I felt like I was so late to the party, coming in just 24 hours after. But just felt so much love right away. And just being able to be that fly on the wall, being involved at times, but also just watching and observing. And I have loved just watching like the sparkles in your guys' eyes and lighting up. And like Taylor, when you had that breakthrough and just like laid on the floor and just like giggled, it was just like, those are the moments that I think it's like there's so much intensity, but then there's also so much joy and laughter, and just being able to witness both sides of it. Maybe sometimes when you're in it, you don't get to see that balance as well. But that's really what I have noticed this week. And even as tears come, within a few minutes later, there's laughter. And I'm like, what a blessing that is.
That's true. And it's been just, obviously, it's always so great to have Juliet. She just brings such a force of creation into the room. And we'll talk about book covers in a second. I think a few things to notice is Jeremy Mudick came Jeremy Mudick is a breathwork facilitator. He comes with me to the island. I always zoom him in on my adventures, but he lives in Arizona. So I was like, well, what's better than having him in person? So he drove up for the day. It was so powerful to have him in person. Like nothing beats that, the in person. And I think we all had some really insane breakthroughs. Some were intense. Some were, like you said, filled with love. We all had our own experience, but that was such a critical shifting point, I feel. And then we got to go to the top of a vortex and watch the sunrise. Talk to me. Is there anything that really like hit you around that experience other than just it was so magical?
There's nothing like a beautiful sunrise when you're with others that you want to be with.
And that was so special because we would go from having these really almost like intimate moments through conversation or quiet to then just belly laughter. Like we have found our rhythm for sure this entire time together.
Yeah. It was so yesterday we started out with the sunrise. Yesterday we ended with the full moon.
Yeah.
Maybe someone can talk about
God love Kira. Also, just like a little background. We've been talking this week about, all of our differences or how we operate in the world, and joke that like it can't operate a remote control for a TV, but can like read someone's energy field in 5 seconds time. But so Kira is very gifted, as we know, and then she has her Kira-isms. We decided that it'd be great since the full moon last night to have cacao ceremony, self-certified in everything that she does. And so we went to Chocolate Tree and she bought this giant bag of cacao,
which I have never created cacao.
So we should aware of that. So, I've done quite a few cacao ceremonies, like I've had them done and so like, I turn the corner, and first of all, there are mugs like this size on the table, 5 of them, and they're filled with water, and then heaping mounds of cacao powder. She goes, "You think I put too much in?" It's like, oh my gosh, laughing so hard. If you know anything about usually like it's like served in smaller cups, and it's like there's a ratio that you put, not just like she's like making hot cocoa. Like, where's the marshmallows? Like, it was so funny.
So almost, put them out with some intense levels of cacao, but.
Didn't it just have to be that way?
It was so perfect. It like fit the theme of the week. If it was done right, it would have been right.
And then the best part was that then Juliet finds smaller mugs, but they're all Christmas mugs. So we're out in the moonlight with our sacred cacao in Christmas mugs. Like this just.
And then scared of the what are the animals?
Oh my god! Javelinas. We both ran into javelinas by ourselves last night.
Out in the dark,
out in the dark. Me just face to face with a skeptic javelina, like and then you come in. I just ran straight into a javelina.
And next thing you know, we're bottoms upping our cacao
in Christmas mugs. All right, here we go.
I think actually what I remember most from it is you sat in this where you get the little. What is it? Little birds?
Like birds?
Yeah,
very one. Like hundreds of them. So we're all sitting there, like after like picking them off. It's like hundreds of them.
I had like my nice fuzzy sweatshirt that I love, and I come back in and like my butt pricks me. What is going on? And it was just covered. So we all sat around like little monkeys.
No, it was like old women knitting.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like this little pile. We're like old women, and then of course Juliet, who can find a solution to anything on the planet. She's like, I found a bucket, and like with this cute little bucket. We're all putting birds in it. We're just telling stories. And I was like, this is like the old days when women were like knitting together, but we're just like clearing off your sweater and just talking about that was a great one.
I don't know why I was the only one that got them. But.
Well, it was the jacket. The jacket attracted them. But Julia came and we always have book cover designs on adventures, but she's never been in person except for on her own adventure. But this time she came in person. Let's talk about book covers. Tell us how it was to do that process with Juliet.
That was incredible. Yeah. I'll share. It was wonderful because we sat, and I think everyone's process was slightly different, which is what's really great because everyone's book is different in our process. But you and I sat down and, first Kira grounded us in and we were able to drop in and see what we see. And so I had a vision come, and then we discussed and went through different ideas. But then she went away and like really brought them to life, and then came and showed the laptop. And it was so fun because we've been so connected. So the screaming and the excitement and doing it together was really, really a highlight for me of the entire trip. But yeah, getting to see your magic in action really was phenomenal. So I have a book cover, which I'm so excited for, and it makes it that much more real.
Yeah. I know it. We always did it over Zoom, and we do like a 45-minute call, and one of my designers would be designing as I'm talking, and we usually come up with like 3 options or so.
Three.
But that was oftentimes the only time we had notes. We were literally on that 45-minute call trying to hear like, what is your book about? And tell us about you, and what's your history, and like what's your energy like, and trying to get all that on a call. And then we're constrained by, business hours and turnaround times. And we have our own things going on in our office, and you guys have your own things. So being on this trip was just like we channeled at 11 o'clock last night. I was working on them at 6 this morning. I mean, it just gave us so much more freedom and so many more options.
And you know them.
And I know
That's what's so, I think these covers are like the best yet of all time, because you've just spent, I mean, we say it's 4 days, but it's been like 7 years, and you've spent that with them, and you've gotten to know their books, and you've heard their books. And so when it was time and we saw the channeled image, it was like so clear for you. You just were able to pull it together so fast.
And I felt like Julie's book, it was like, this is Julie. This is her energy. This is her presence. Then Jenn's book, like, this is hers. And Taylor's work, like, this is who she is. My goal within a brand is that if someone either meets you first or meets your book first, whichever one, as they meet the other part, they're like, oh yeah, of course this is theirs. And so just being in person made all the difference.
So she's coming on all the adventures now. So that's just how it goes. But I feel like with your book, it's like I was telling you, it could be like your clutch. Like it looks like it would be something that you would just have as an accessory, which is so perfect because you're a stylist, and that's just like your magic. So watching these book covers come to life is always like a highlight. And then it's been so interesting. I've told you guys that sometimes on adventures, day 5 is like kind of a push day. And, sometimes you have someone with 10,000 words and we got to pull 20,000 out in a day. And this group has been just filled with ease. And it's like, today feels like a day of rest for everyone, right? Like we've made it. We're still working on the books. They're coming through, but they're here, and there's no stress. There's no overwhelm. I think they'll come out fairly quickly. What's exciting is you wrote a book 6 weeks ago on the island, which feels like 5 years ago.
Wild. Yeah.
And that book is like going to be out soon. You're going to finish that book today, which is just wild. You're going to do your book cover for that book. And so 2025 is 2 books for you.
Yes.
And we have to say why we were laughing when Juliet said that she made 3 on the previous calls. How many did you make for Jenn?
39.
39. She made 39 versions for Jenn.
In like an hour, like less than 2 hours. It's like insane.
And then she made 16?
16 for my 16 books.
Yep.
I mean, it was incredible because she opened up the laptop and showed them. And this was like your first reveal. And it was so fun for all of it, like, because then everyone got to look and obviously say which one they thought was their book cover, and all of us honing in. But like, they were all so amazing. And we're talking about, it's like some of those are future books. Like,
Yeah.
And also, it's like, I want some of those book covers. I gotta get writing again.
Again, don't you have a book coming out today?
Yeah, I do. I have a book being published today. My book. Isn't that fun? Like, that's what I really want. I know this is, but I will say there are some big publishing houses where the publisher themselves, I was at a big event, and someone asked them, do you publish your own books? And he was like, no, I don't write books. And for me, I'm like, oh, I love to be a publisher where we're here writing our books. I'm like, oh yeah, my 5th book is being published today. How amazing, right? Like, this isn't just something that, like, it's not just like this is not a conveyor belt publishing house, right? Like, our book covers are channeled in. We have designers on hand, like building the art. And the insides of your books are they're pure art. These are not just like someone has a formatting and we just threw words in. Like, we are producing masterpieces to the world. Yeah.
Pieces of legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just legacy all throughout. And my favorite thing about Taylor's cover too is we were really just coming up with concepts because she's gonna go paint her own cover, and so it's just cool to like it takes my gifts and her gifts together to like make a final product with all of us. It's like we couldn't do this alone.
Yeah. It's so great. What I would love is I want everyone to just drop in. And if there's a message that you could give to the listener, what would that message be? So if you could just listen to those who are listening to this episode, and what is the message that you could give them? Who wants to go first?
I'll start.
Yeah.
What I hear is that your voice matters, and if you have a calling on your heart to share something, and that I feel so immensely grateful because I could have written this book, but it is so much richer with your help. And I know like you talk about like, oh, yeah, help you channel, but like you're really in the book with me, and you have pulled things through that I might not have been able to quite articulate, but once you've given me that seed, it's been able to do more. So I would just say if this really speaks to you, because I was so scared, I was so scared about like spending the money if it made sense, but like to trust that call. If you're meant to come on an adventure, if you're meant to get help to get your message out there, to just trust that desire.
Thank you. Such a joy.
You dear.
The queen, please.
Just a simple message, I think, is never give up faith in other people. No matter what, your previous experiences, if you've been hurt or if you've decided things don't work, when you try to connect with certain types, don't have your stereotype, don't stay in your small closed circles. See the potential in every single encounter and relationship.
Yes.
Thank you. My message is that being you is actually the easiest thing in the entire world. It's just the belief that you have to be anything else that creates the suffering.
Yes.
Yeah, my message is that there's no perfect time, and we have to prioritize ourselves, our messages, and just making time like we did this week. There's no perfect time to do anything, so you just have to create it. And what we created this week is a legacy that will live on forever.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I don't even know how do I finish this? How do I finish this? The thing that I'm the most present to really is those of you who may have a call to do this, to share your message, to be a light, to be a vessel, but you just feel so inadequate and you feel like you're not the person to bring it through. Who are you to write this book? Who are you to do this work? My invitation is to reframe it as that's actually the proof that you are. So it's those of us who doubt if we can do it, doubt if we are the ones, are the most humble. And then God can work through you. And each one of you came to the altar this week, like, use me, God. Not one of you came saying, I know exactly what I'm writing and I've been prepped for this. And so scoot on over. Like each one of you came like, can I? And I always say, that's the piece we need. So anyone out there who's like, yeah, but I'm not them. And who could I be? How could I do? Well, no, that's you. If you feel that way, it's because of that you're called. It is in our humility that we get to be vessels. And it is in those moments of doubt and fear where we get to dig deeper and say, God, just use me. Like I'm just human with all my mistakes, but like I'm a yes. And that's what you all did this week. You all just came and you said, use me. And these beautiful messages have come out that are going to move into pockets and corners of the world. And we have a TV show coming up. So it's not like, well, we hope the book finds people. Now it's like God has created a platform so that these books will be found. Just so much humility and like honoring that gift that these books will be found and they will be read. and these messages will heal. So I love you, ladies. I'm so beyond grateful that you all said yes, for your faith, your trust in the process, for these books that are coming out. Those of you who are watching, listening, these books will be out early 2025. So stay tuned. You're going to want every single one of them. And these book launches are going to blow your mind. So you're also going to want to get a ticket and fly to their book launches. Okay. With that being said, thank you. Thank you. May you remember who you are and that you were indeed born to do this.